What up guys? In this video, I want to talk about how assassins move in this game and how you can exploit this behavior, either as the player using the assassins or as the team countering it. If you don't pay very close attention to how they jump, you might just think, okay, they're randomly picking some enemy in the backline to jump to. But actually this is not true, and they actually follow a very simple rule that you'll recognize over time. So this is how the rule works. First, it checks if the assassin can do anything without moving. So basically, if it can attack something without jumping, then it prefers to do that. But if it can't, it's going to try to jump as vertically far as possible. And once it's decided what's this furthest vertical row, it'll randomly choose either the leftmost or the rightmost square that it can jump to. So basically, it doesn't want to jump right in the middle where it takes a lot of damage. And if you actually inspect the source code for the game, which you can do for every Dota 2 mod, you'll find that this is actually exactly how it works. And it's completely random whether or not it chooses the leftmost or the rightmost square. Now, I want to show you some different examples to just prove to you that this is how it always works, and then talk about how you can use this behavior to your advantage in several different scenarios. Let's get to it. So, in this first example, we got the bounty hunter over here. And the two furthest vertical targets that I can possibly hit are the Wind Ranger and the Sniper. So, based on the rule, we know that the Bounty Hunter is either going to go over here or over here. Note that it's not going to try to attack this back line over here because it can jump further than that. And it's also not going to attack the Wind Ranger from over here or attack the Sniper from over here. And that's because it wants to jump as vertically far as possible. So we don't know if it'll go here or here. We just know it'll go in either or. Let's run the video and see what happens. And we can see that we were correct. Bounty Hunter did go into one of these two squares to attack its target. We're going to look at one more example just to make sure that this rule is correct, and then we'll go into more interesting stuff about how you can strategize based on this movement behavior. So here we should be able to predict where the Phantom Assassin is going to go. This is the furthest vertical row that it can attack stuff in, and it's either going to go over here, the leftmost spot, to attack the Sniper, or here, the rightmost spot, to attack the Wind Ranger. We don't know which one will happen, so let's see how it goes. So we see that it ended up attacking the Sniper over here. But there was some interesting thing that happened because it seemed like the Wind Ranger moved up here around the same time as the Phantom Assassin jumped. So let me play that again just to show you in case you weren't paying attention to that. Basically, somehow, even though the Phantom Assassin jumped around the same time Wind Ranger moved here, Phantom Assassin knew that the Wind Ranger was going to move, and then it couldn't go over here to attack the Wind Ranger. This is a pretty confusing part about the chess AI. It seems like the order that the units decide where they're going to move makes a difference, and it's hard to predict what that order is. I don't totally know how it works, but the important point I want to get across in this example is that the Phantom Assassin moved to the furthest vertical row to attack the Sniper, and the only possible spot that it could stand at was over here. Now we know how assassins move, so we can use this to our advantage when trying to counter an enemy assassin team. This guy has a lot of assassins over here, and he wants to snipe my squishy backline over here. Unfortunately for him, I placed a couple decoys, the Lone Druid and the TA. The TA is only level 1, but it has the elf bonus, so it's still relatively tanky. And unfortunately for his assassins, because they want to go to the furthest vertical unit, the furthest vertical space, a bunch of them end up attacking my two decoys. The Sand King did attack my actual backline, but the Sand King's too weak and my Razor's too strong. I know I probably would have won this fight anyways if I just positioned the Lone Druid and the TA up front, but I want to do this to show you what you can do to decoy an enemy assassin team. The other thing that a lot of people do is they put their things in a corner like this so that the assassins don't have any space to move in, but this is really weak to CC. And this guy is not the only guy left, so I don't want to make my team so weak to CC at this moment in time. In this example, we're going to be looking at the Queen of Pain, which actually is positioned, instead of being in the back, is right behind the front line. Now we're putting her here because we're expecting that she'll be able to hit something right away, and that will in effect cancel her jump. Let's see if that's the case. And you can see that Queen of Pain did start attacking right away without jumping over to the enemy back line. So this is something that you usually do want to take advantage of when you get Queen of Pain in the early game. And the reasoning is because, as Amaz explains in his positioning video, that you want the AoE effect to hit as many guys as possible. And if you have her jump to the back, she's going to be jumping either to the left side or the right side, so it's not going to be intersecting with a lot of enemy units. So you want Queen of Pain right behind in the front line so that it can start attacking the front line right away, and by doing that, it cancels her jump to the back line. Now we're going to look at an example where instead of wanting just an assassin right behind the front line to start attacking right away, we actually want the assassins in the front line to tank damage. And the reason you want to do that is if you have a lot of assassins in your team, there are some of them that you'd rather have taking more damage. So those ones you don't want them to jump in the backline, you want them to be focused by the enemies. So here I've placed the two Morphlings here in the front line. And the reason Morphling is good in this position is because Morphling has an ult where it tries to go to the farthest enemy possible to attack. And by going so far away, it often is basically going very far away from the rest of the enemy units, and therefore it saves itself once it gets to very low health. You'll see what I mean once you play this video. So I'll pause the video here. Actually, the enemy team has a Morphling, and because it was in the back, it jumped to our backline to start attacking. But our Morphling here just went off. And as you can see, the farthest that it decided that it could possibly go to hit an enemy was like all the way over here. And by doing that, it got very far away from the rest of the enemy units, and now it's safe. And look at this one. Yeah, see? This one decided that the farthest it could go to ult to attack an enemy unit was all the way over here. So by doing that, once again, it's safe. And then we end up cleaning up the fight here because of those two very efficient use of the Morphling healths. There's a couple units that you generally want to do this with. One is Morphling, the other is Sand King, whose AoE ult works very similarly, and possibly Templar Assassin as well. Her, because Refraction makes her very hard to kill, so maybe you want her taking more damage, so you're basically wasting your enemy's damage. In this last example, I want to show you how I positioned twice against this 9 assassin, 1 Tidehunter team. One of them is very wrong, and one of them is a little bit better. Now, I don't totally know how to position optimally against the 9 assassin team, especially when he puts it together like this, but I want to show you my reasoning for why I did it this way. First, why it's incorrect, how I changed it, why it worked out better afterwards, and then maybe you can sort of come up with your own conclusions about how you can use the assassin jumping behavior to figure out the best positioning against somebody like Mike who decides to do the 9 assassin combo. So here, I'm thinking I use the classic corner strategy, right? Because, you know, there's no spaces here, so they can't get to my Shadow Fiend. My Medusa can attack without, you know, without being directly exposed, and that's okay. And then I have my big tanks here, including Templar Assassin. As I mentioned earlier, Templar Assassin is actually a pretty good tank because Refraction. Over here, I don't have the evasion from the elf bonus, but even so, it's still pretty good. But let's see what happens. Yeah, there you go. That's game over, right? The Tidehunter, that one Tidehunter, I figured, okay, this guy's 9 assassins, probably, you know, he just has 1 AoE, so my AoE will probably work better. But the thing is that, like, I had all my guys in this 3x3 grid here, and that was just the game ender. Also note that as many as possible, right, they go to the furthest vertical row here. Then at some point, right, they can't, like, the units can't go over here to attack. The range is not big enough, so then they go over here. And then after, you know, that those spots are filled up, then they go over here. And then some of them just move forward like this. Of course, the Tide Hunter is not an assassin, so it has to just move forward. Okay, so I lost horribly that round to the Tide Hunter Ravage, and this is how I repositioned to fix my mistakes. I figured, okay, if I have them in 2 groups, the Tide, he only has 1 AoE, so he can only hit one of them, probably this one, because it's just closer to it. I also know that these assassins are going to prioritize going here, because they want to go to the left and rightmost spots. So I positioned 2 AoE guys, 1 stun from the Medusa and 1 damage from the techies over here. I think another thing that I could have considered doing is putting something in the middle here, and the reason is because they prioritize going to the side. Probably this one would still take some damage, but I think these side ones would take more damage, even though it could be quite exposed in the middle. Maybe I have to like put 2 or something so that one is not too exposed. Let's play this video and see if it actually works any better than what happened in the previous round. Yeah, so as you can see, that first big wave of jumps did end up going to roughly these 2 areas. And then the remainder, basically they're just attacking in whatever free spaces that they can find. My Templar Assassin here is being a very good tank. And that Disruptor and techies was decent. Alright, so a very close victory there. That may not have been the optimal position, or it probably wasn't the optimal positioning, but that was my line of thinking after losing very poorly that round. If you think you could have put it a little bit better, please let me know in the comments below. But anyways, I hope you liked this video. Please subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.